This story is called Lucky 13. It's for Lucas. Year 0. You are a baby just out of college. In the California desert, you make an unlikely connection to a tall drink of water. A granola, you call him. And first you are just friends. Quickly, though, your thirst grows. Soon you have his head in your lap, your head in his. Then you are mating bookshelves and negotiating whose couch to keep. It is so hot here that the sheets are damp when you wake. You see cockroaches, snakes curled casually in the middle of the road, an iridescent rose lizard the size of a cat that he lures out of the bedroom while you stand on the mattress and scream. Together you watch a family of bighorn sheep swagger down the rusted mountain and clickety-clack up the road. You become attuned to palmetto bugs and delicate quail, and to the animals of yourselves, which you discover you like best of all. Adjusting your ivory veil, your grandmother smiles softly and whispers on your wedding day, "This is the best it will ever be." You say, "The best what will be?" She says, "Your life." Year 1. Together you decide to leave California and replant yourselves farther north. You go ahead first because you have a job. Tucked beneath the forest gloom in a crummy apartment, you ride the waves of the Pacific Northwest fall alone. Moss grows, expanding your sense of lack. At work, you write newspaper stories about wet roadways, transportation levees, collector-distributor lanes. You envision the gray ribbon of I-5 that can bring your husband to you. During the doomed assemblage of a piece of IKEA furniture, you finally break. "I can't take this anymore," you write in an email. "Get up here." And he does. Year 2. You buy a home of your own, a small white box with old wooden bones in the heart of Seattle. Your husband digs into the earth, leaves his seeds everywhere. There is a feeling of taking root. Your East Coast father comes to town, and walking up the steps, seeing the front yard his granola son-in-law has turned into potato plants, says, "What the hell is this?" "Food is better than grass," you say firmly, and at that moment you realize you have snipped an invisible tether. Almost instantly, the hint of a new desire comes, to add another ally to your coalition. Year 3. You try, you try, you try. The spring and summer months of traditional production scroll past. The cloak of fall lowers more heavily this year. You sow and reap nothing. At your first visit to the infertility clinic, while the rain whirls outside, the doctor smiles and says, "What are you worried about? You're pregnant." Nine months later, the world inside outs. A person is placed in your arms, yours and his. Under the August sun, you stumble home to the white wooden box. A new meaning comes to the word feed. You worry she'll starve and die. Moving the earth, he feeds you both. Kale as big as ceiling fans. Creamy potatoes, carrots and sweet plums, the fruits of your labor. Year 4. Work, daycare, a bigger house, blurry exhaustion. You navigate your still tender body as if in tacit détente. "You can't do this right now," is a common thought. One night, you both step into the backyard to let the dog pee. Look up at the black night speckled with stars. Your breaths puff white like vapored snow, and you think together silently, "Why don't we come out here more often to look at the sky? It is right here all the time. We hadn't noticed." You reach for each other's palm, shrinking the cosmos until they are cuppable. Year 5. Another birth. Pain scorches along your cracked surface and harpoons to the interior. He puts his arms around you and holds you up so that you may drag yourself outside of your body and look down at yourself from above, withstanding the pain to bring another squalling Confederate into the fold. Year 6. You have chickens. You have diapers. You have unforgiving levels of laundry. Small, sweet bodies conduct rolling assaults on the marital bed. Money is a dream. A letter arrives just before Christmas that says, "We regret to inform you that your loan is rescinded." You think this will mean the end, your life together transferred into a rumple of blankets and a refrigerator box underneath a highway overpass. But a stroke of luck arrives. He buys you a coffee machine that can do everything but fold the laundry. Year 7. You have stopped your career in order to tromp through forests and hand-grind applesauce with your wonderful daughters. Every night he comes home from the world of broader things. Despite his warm concern and attention, it's a silent tug of war. Winter's assault, the coldest in years, gives no break. Your sense of smallness reproduces like algae. On a weekend, you see at the beach an umbrella spray a few hundred yards from shore, the graceful gloss of an arc. Whales, the kids shriek. They're gray whales, your husband explains to you and to the strangers on the sand. They migrate from mating grounds in Mexico to feeding grounds in Alaska. You imagine the journey the whales have already traversed up the rippled coast of a continent, hungry and swollen postpartum, or bulging with the readiness to mate, driven by a purpose tens of thousands of years old. Do they ever falter, you wonder? Years 8, 9, and 10. Something has entered the public water supply in Seattle's suburbs. The wife across the street moves out. The wife 2 doors down is gone too. The husband who sells wine and sometimes handed you a bottle of something nice after parking near the driveway has disappeared. More husbands leave. Another friend, after navigating a health crisis, decides life is too short and finds her own apartment. You suddenly realize your own parents never made it much farther than this. He reads you poetry at night while the inhabitants of the houses outside, in the next neighborhood over, in your own childhood memories, shuffle and depart. Year 11. The year of puzzles, mathematical challenges as confounding as the game of Sudoku, which the kids love and want you to play with them, but which you cannot even spell, never mind do. If A drops kids at school at 8:30 a.m. and B picks up kids Tuesdays and Thursdays and shuttles them to soccer, and the dog needs to be walked and both of you are now working and share one car, and a family of rats has unexpectedly moved into the walls where they scratch and squeak all night long, keeping A, B, C, and D awake, how many parent hours are you short in order to even attempt a state of sanity? You look up Sudoku and learn it is not to be confused with Sodoku, a bacterial disease that is basically a form of rat bite fever. Year 12. The rug slips out from under you. It is like that letter from the bank rescinding your loan, but a little worse. Nights you cannot fall asleep right away, and sometimes you stare at your husband's back, long under the blanket, less gangly than when you first encountered it, more attuned, sturdy. You take in his heavily breathing body and think of the term body of work, used often in reference to the writing one has managed to create, sometimes in spite of the demands of life and motherhood and marriage. This is a body of work, you think, of the things you have crafted together. Year 13. Your grandmother was wrong. Now is the best it has been. Thank you.